How do they get away with it?
There's a loophole. If they just say put me on your list, that's up to the discretion of the person whether they want to or not.
It's not just unethical thing anymore, it's pretty much straight illegal.
Conscience just wouldn't let me do it every day. I can't push him knowing that this product is not what you say it is. I was to where I couldn't sleep at night.
Rachel, thank you so much for taking time to come to us. You have a lot of fans in the audience today. A lot of people know who HomeAdvisor is. You're an ex-employee today of HomeAdvisor. Let's start with, how did you land the job at HomeAdvisor?
Well, I was in property management for a lot of years and I got tired of it, so I wanted something different. And someone had told me that HomeAdvisor was ranked like #1 place to work and it was so much fun and exciting. And so I went for the interview. I was actually looking for a work at home position, and they said that I could go to that eventually. So that's why I started with them. I went to an interview and I thought I'd give them a shot. Talked to the girl that worked there. She was real positive, you know, real positive vibes, real happy, loved to be there. This is a great place to work. Really sold it to me. She was the whole reason that I took the job to begin with. Okay. So that's how I ended up there.
What was the recruiting process look like? I know they have high turnover, so describe to me how many people getting a job right away. How many? Like, what's the training process looks like?
Okay. Well, I started in November, and then the training lasted about 30 days. It was a few weeks until you're actually on the phones.
You were in sales?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was a sales associate. So there's a few weeks between. You have a few weeks of training. It's about 4 weeks long, where they give you a script and tell you what you need to say and how to overcome objections and all of that stuff. So it was about a month training, and then they put you on the floor. Like, I think it's week 4.
How many people worked in your office or with you? How big of the office?
Oh, it's huge. It was huge. There's like 4 different sections of the building. It's a very large, just flat, felt flat building. And so there's probably, I would say, 600 or so.
Oh, wow.
In that building, in that location.
How many people do sales?
75%.
Because we all keep getting calls from HomeAdvisor. As a matter of fact, I used to be a member of Angels List, and even this last week I had this one guy. Now he's harassing me on LinkedIn, and he's like, Dmitry, let's get you back on Angels List. They would not go away. Like, every single person in the room, after even they cancel account, like, HomeAdvisor doesn't go away. What's the training look like on your end? How many calls do you have to make to the contractor after they tell you they don't want to hear from you? What's the protocol?
It's all your determination. Okay. So it's basically, you speak with someone, and if they sound like they might be interested, you know, you push a little harder. The rule is swing 3 times. You always have to try 3 different times to get the person to go. So in that case, what that means is when somebody tells you they're not ready or they want to think about it or whatever, it's your determination whether you go forward with them or not. But they say no matter what, you know, they want that one call closed at the beginning. They push for that. And the reason I think they do that is because, and this is my experience, everybody that I've talked to that actually liked my personality and wanted to go ahead and think about it and wanted to sign up, I would send them their information or whatever. So I would call them for a couple months, you know, and wait and see. You know, I was never real pushy of a salesman, which I think kind of bit me at the end, but I was just never a real pushy person as far as sales. You know, I thought there's a professional way to do it and an unprofessional way to do it. And if someone tells me, I'm on a roof right now and I can't get down, I can't talk on the phone, I'm on a roof, then I'm gonna say, okay, I'll call you back. You know, when would be a good day? But for them, they wanted us to push. They wanted us to, oh, just give me 5 minutes. Oh, this won't take very long. It'll only be a couple minutes if you can just hang in there. Give me 2 minutes, that was their phrase, you know. So that gives you 2 minutes to warm them up and to have them talking openly and freely with you.
How does HomeAdvisor gets away with the do not call list? Because I know, I told them many times, like, put me on do not call list, and they still, I mean, that's a law. You can't do it.
Right.
No call center can do it. How do they get away with it?
There's a loophole. So in the law, it's you have to say do not call list. If you do not say those 4 words, they don't have to put you on there. So a lot of people will be like, they know it's HomeAdvisor, you know, immediately frustrated, you know, you've called me a million times, put me on your list, and they'll hang up. Well, if they just say put me on your list, that's up to the discretion of the person whether they want to or not. Because by law, and this is what they stress to you, by law they have to say that. Like they have to say do not call list. So because of that, that's why people get put back on. Now, I have had people who specifically asked me to put them on the do not call list. And I'd make a note in the account and I'd do so, and then maybe a month later, I'd get that same number roll through again.
Well,
and so
how did they explain to you, how did lead get recycled again? So
all the leads get recycled. And that's the thing, I think, and I
She said
can't
it.
prove it, and I asked them many times because I was having trouble pushing sales and pushing people when I didn't believe in the product. And I told my manager that, we had a big discussion about it. She's like, I'm not going to sit here and explain away, She's like, but I will tell you this. She's like, there's not a room with a bunch of people sitting in there generating leads. She's like, we don't do fake leads. Why would you think? Because I had to keep coming to them about it because they were my clients. And so I would keep coming to her about it, and she'd be like, that's what she would just tell me.
So do you believe that HomeAdvisor sells fake leads?
I think what they do is they have an algorithm that's not right. And because of that, I think that's why all of these, because she kept explaining that was mistakes. Oh, that must have been a mistake in the algorithm. That must have been a glitch. Every time I came to her with a fake lead, that's what I would get. Oh, it must be a glitch in the system. They're going to get some of those. And I'm like, well, how does that happen? Because I was told that I'm supposed to tell them within 60 seconds of receiving the lead, I'm going to send it over to them. Within 60 seconds. So when I get, people calling me back saying, hey, this lead said they got it done 6 months ago and they never even reached out to HomeAdvisor. So I'd ask them, how does that happen? How does that happen that somebody gets something from 6 months ago that's already done and completed if we're sending it to them live in 60 seconds?
So you've seen it in the back end.
Oh yeah. And I've had clients one after the other that were going into bankruptcy or losing thousands of dollars because they had requested their leads be turned off and they weren't. So they were stacking up money and it was coming out of their business account. And so when they went to check and realized that we were still taking it, even though we had told them we would stop it, things like that.
Well, for me, my theory is this. HomeAdvisor business model, for one, there's a lot of fraudulent activities, but for this company to raise any capital at any time, it's not a problem. So they have all these credit cards on file. They can call it a mistake, but they also have in contract that they never ever refund money. So once they have your card and they charge it, they are not obligated to give you money back, and they never pay pretty much for their own mistakes. So their glitch, so if they need to raise, let's say $500,000, by the end of the week, all they need to do is to make a couple mistakes, send leads to people who turn them off, right? Because they're raising money that way. Or recycle leads from 6 months ago. So if I needed something by Friday and I have mail list of whatever, I can create my own glitches because I don't have to refund money. How it blows my mind.
I think the trick is, and this is, I don't have proof of it, but it's from what I've seen of all the people that I signed up. I would say 95% of them, the first 30 days, they got great leads. Were happy, loved the program,
Really?
all great. And then after those 30 days, the leads, I started getting the calls. Now I've had a couple that called me within a week or 2 weeks wanting to cancel because of fake leads. But I think the first 30 days is where they have the push, I guess, to give you the good leads, to keep you hooked, and then after that, then you have to go through the cancellation process.
And what's that process look like?
I don't do it on that end. I have called customer service and asked them how it goes. I've had to talk to them a couple times, but I know that just the minute someone calls me with a complaint, they're like, if you can't handle it, you send them over to Save Team. There's a group called the Save Team, and they go in and try and save the clients.
Because I know for a fact, we actually documented it here on the channel. You cannot cancel account. So we called and we recorded the entire conversation. Cancel, we want to close the account. They would not do it. And then what they did to us, by the way, we only sign up to document it. We didn't want to even do it. But we documented, we spent $1,800, then we cancel it. And then 6 months later, we get charged again. So when we called them again, we asked them, guys, you were supposed to cancel it, and they told us, no, you called us to cancel, and at the end of the call, you told us to pause. I'm like, guys, I have a freaking conversation recorded. That's not how it went. Is it a script, you think?
Well, you've got a 4-day script, or a 4-page script that you're supposed to have memorized when you start, but most people end up throwing the script out the window and doing their own thing.
But cancellation script.
Cancellation script, I mean, I didn't do the cancellations myself, so I don't have a script for that.
But have you heard people complaining to you maybe when they say...
Oh yeah, that they tried to cancel, and that they told them they would cancel, or told them they would give them a discount on leads, and their cards are still getting charged. Yeah, and so these people, I mean, they'll call and try to cancel, and what they do is, my manager, what she did was, I came to her and I said, this guy just started with us like not even 30 days ago. I was like, he's already ready to cancel. He said he's getting a bunch of bad leads. What should I do about this? You know, and she's like, well, what will, she's like, he wants to cancel for sure. And I was like, yeah, he said he's ready to go. He's very upset, he just wants it done. And she's like, okay, she's like, well, what we can do, we'll just do this. She's like, we'll just we'll pause his leads instead of canceling his account. And that way, since he's already paid for the membership, he'll still get the benefits of the membership, and your retention won't be hurt. You know, so it was retention, you get paid off of keeping clients. Yeah. So, because I didn't, you know, so that way if you keep them on, you get the extra.
And what happened to their client?
Huh?
Like he's still with the HomeAdvisor?
No. No, he's got his leads paused, and then he realized that they were just paused because he was still getting certain things from HomeAdvisor as far as emails and things. And so he was, you know, he's like, obviously you guys didn't cancel my account.
So tell me the beginning of the end. When did you realize you don't want to be part of the company? What led to it? And when did you decide to quit? Because I remember you called me or messaged me, said, I've seen your video. I can't work here anymore, but you still were there, and you were debating to quit. How did?
Okay, so when we got moved home, obviously to work from home due to coronavirus, and all of a sudden our sales go up. They're wanting us to make 3 sales a week instead of 2. We were already freaking out. We're like, it's already hard enough to make these sales. Like, you can call 1,000 people and get one person that won't hang up on you because you're from HomeAdvisor. And it was getting to the point where I couldn't even say the name HomeAdvisor when I would call these people, because I knew automatically either get cussed out or hung up on. You know, so I went to her and I asked her, I said, you know, why do I have to like push so hard with these people? And why the minute they hear our name, do they hang up the phone or cuss me out? I was like, if we have a good product and what we're selling has integrity and is actually what we're saying it is, then why do we have to do that? You know, why do we have to overcome objections? Why do we have to not say the name HomeAdvisor just to not get hung up on? If you want to not be a part of HomeAdvisor and you don't want them calling you, tell them do not call list, and tell them if they call you again, you will call an attorney. Because that's the only way they'll listen when it comes to do not call.
How many happy customers did you have?
How many what?
Happy customers, like happy clients.
Happy
contractors.
2.
2?
But they were larger companies. See, that's the thing. It's like I've noticed HomeAdvisor works okay for large companies that can eat the cost. They have a guy that will go out and do their estimates for them. You know, you're not having to do the foot traffic yourself. That's the only companies that I see it works for, is that have the time. They have a dispensable person that they can put in to go do all of these bids every day. Because otherwise, you're driving out, you know, some guys will put 50, 60 mile radius just to get work. And so you'll put them out 60 miles, and then they'll have to drive that, you know, hour or whatever to go do this bid, and then find out the customer's not even real, you know, and then they have to turn back around and come home, and then they ate $60, you know.
I've spoke to a lot of HomeAdvisor employees before, and everybody says it feels like it's a cult, like the culture.
It's all about the culture. That's what they call it, the culture. And that's what gets you in. Because you walk into the interview and you've got this big, huge, nice, brand new building. Everyone has their own little spots. Everyone's so happy and positive. You know, it's almost like a, I don't know, boiler room situation where, you know, everyone's happy, and then once you get started, it's go, 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 go. You know, and I was one of their top people as far as talk time and dials and the amount of calls and stuff that I made. I was always up at the top of the list of everybody, but my sales weren't coming, and that's why. Because once I realized, I'm like, first of all, you sent us home due to coronavirus. You know we're working at home. You know the economy is terrible and people are terrified. And you want me to push even harder and to make even more sales. You know, and it's just everybody there is constantly worried about losing your job. Oh, I mean, because literally if you don't get 3 sales or 2 sales, whatever the quota is that week, if you don't get it in that week, you're on a plan. You know, and that leads to. The plan is about 2 weeks long, and what they do is basically you just make your sales, and if you don't, then they let you go. So that's why the turnover is so high. Either one, people's consciences get to them. Like I was to where I couldn't sleep at night thinking about these people. I mean, I had grown men calling me crying about their businesses, and that's not okay. That's not okay. And I was like, I can't sit here and sell this. And yeah, it's not $300. You know, but it's not just $300 because then you have the leads forever and ever. You know, they just keep going and going until you can finally get them to cancel.
What's the worst cases you've seen the contractors that spent or complained?
I think it was around $23,000.
$23,000
from an email, and it was one of my last guys.
Really?
You know, so after that, once he called me, I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I didn't want to leave my job because I needed my job. You know, economy's not good. It's not a good time to try to find another job. So I needed my job, but at the same time, my conscience just wouldn't let me do it every day. Like I literally, I mean, they would want you to lie to these people. Oh yeah, within 60 seconds you're gonna get it. That means that person just put it in. That means if you call them right now, and you call them right away before the other contractors, you'll get them. You know, so it was that kind of bait is what they would use. Oh yeah. So simple. We're just going to send these leads over to your phone. Just text them right over. No big deal. You know, and if they call with a thing, they train you on how to be they want you to call them huddles in the morning, so you do it for about an hour to get you motivated, get you pumped, you know, get that music going in the background.
Do they have alcohol enough?
Oh yeah. Yeah, they have a happy hour. They don't hide it. That's part of I think
culture.
What gets people in, the culture. Yeah. So the happy hour starts I never ever went, because you have to have a certain amount of sales on your team to be able to go, but it's like 4 to 6, I think, and you can sit there and drink and stuff. But from what I know, from all the people that I saw, a lot of people came in drunk, a lot of people came in high. I mean, it was pretty common. You're getting a lot of young people. They get a lot of people with not a lot of experience, so they can mold them in the right way. But I think the culture was the biggest problem, because for me, I was so pumped when I came in. I'm like, oh, this feels awesome in here. These people really love what they do. They really believe in it. You know, it sounds like something awesome. I can really help some, you know, small businesses. It's not what it is. It's not what it is. And unfortunately, you can't tell those people on the phone, but I did stop altogether trying to push these people. I was like, you swing 3 times. I'm not. Guy tells me on our roof, I'm done. Guy tells me he knows who we are. He knows our reputation. He doesn't want anything to do with us. I can't push him knowing that this product is not what you say it is.
So did you talk to your management about like accusing them or questioning their leads?
Mm-hmm.
What was
There was many conversations about it, and the last conversation I had with my manager, she basically told me, she said, well, I'm not going to sit here and try to convince you that we have a good brand if you don't see the value for yourself. You know, basically talking to me like I was a customer.
Okay.
So this played me off.
So how do they get away with all of that? Because it's not just unethical thing anymore. It's pretty much straight illegal. Mm-hmm. Who's covering up for HomeAdvisor? Like, what do you think? How do they get away?
I know it goes much higher up. I know who's in our board of directors. I mean, that's all really I can say, but I know who's in the board of the directors and who those people are and what they're capable of. And I mean, it's a big company. IAC is a huge company. They own a lot of companies. Yeah. And HomeAdvisor is just one of them. And from what I hear, eventually they're trying to break off this year. So they're supposed to be their own separate entity, Angie's List and HomeAdvisor. HomeAdvisor? But that's what I was told, and I think that was because I was threatening to leave. You know, because I was like, I have some issues with who runs the company as well and how it's run, and there are other companies that they run, you know.
Wow. From your experience, from your feedback from the contractors, out of 10 leads that HomeAdvisor sends, how many leads contractors will actually talk to? Like on my end, what I've seen, it's usually 2, 3 max out of 10 that you actually will be able to reach.
Right.
What did you see on your end? So if HomeAdvisor sends 10 leads to your client, let's say I'm your client and I call you back because you're probably going to be the one hearing the complaint. Hey, I only spoke to one person. What happened to the other 9? Why they're not picking up phone? How many people, from your experience, will actually talk to the contractor?
My experience, 1 out of 2, or 1 out of 10, maybe 2 if you're lucky.
2 out of
Yeah,
10.
I had several that called me because how HomeAdvisor works is it's not free to the contractors, but it's free to the the homeowners.
Sure.
So they'll get online and just fill out an application. Well, you get drunk guys in the middle of the night think it's funny. You get Ronald. I had somebody call me and said their last lead was Ronald McNuggets. And they were like, come on, you guys know this is not a real person. Why did you send this to me? And you charged me $65 for it. Common sense stuff.
So what do you do with a complaint like that? You take it to your management, and
You try.
Would you advocate to management, say, hey, it's not fair, it's obviously a fake lead?
Yeah, and that's what I did. And they were said, well, we don't know how that happened. That's weird. You get that's weird a lot, or that's a glitch, or that's something to do with our algorithm.
Yeah, it's a glitch, but they always get paid. It's a glitch,
Right.
but we're charging $65. Guys, imagine this. You're sending invoice and you're charging card for the glitch, for your mistakes, and you would never refund the money. I mean, how is it even possible?
They'll credit it. And it's usually 30 days. That's your loop there. If you don't try and get your leads refunded or credited within the first 30 days.
I've seen
good luck
Donald
to you.
Trump, I've seen Magnans, I've seen so many fake names.
Yeah, there's tons.
Contractors post it all the time. The problem with it is it's all money exchange. It's like, oh, I just purchased this.
Right, well they think if you get the 2 good leads, then you won't mind the few others. And I've heard a lot of people say that.
But you get 8 bad leads and 2
Right.
good ones.
Are you making a profit? Yeah.
So why did you reach out to us?
Because I had seen you guys' videos before, like when I was working there, because I started questioning a little bit, and I always look up the companies I work for. And I found you guys, and I was watching it, and I'm just like, man, it started to make me doubt. But again, you've got that positive culture. So when you have that positive culture, you spend that hour every morning getting pumped up, getting psyched. You can't be negative. You can't ask real questions. Because if you do, it brings down the positivity, and it makes you look like you're the problem, you're the negative. Like you're bringing the whole group down. We're trying to have good vibes in here, So don't ask any questions and don't question the leads or any of that. It all works. It's great. It's wonderful. Go with it. That's how you're kind of pushed off.
What kind of changes did you see after HomeAdvisor purchased Angie's List?
Well, I just started when HomeAdvisor had just taken over Angie's List. So they were in our building with us. It was about half and half.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I didn't know much about Angie's List before. I knew it was pretty popular and people liked it, but I don't know the differences from when they were before they joined IAC.
Awesome.
Yeah. I will say this though, go easy on the reps. They're not all bad people. I went in, I'm a woman of high integrity, and I went in there planning to do my best and sell this great product to these great people. So if you don't want to talk to them, hang up on them. Don't sit there and cuss them out and act crazy, because that just makes you just as bad as HomeAdvisor. I mean, conduct yourself like these are still human beings, and we didn't like calling you guys 50,000 times as much as you guys didn't like us calling you 50,000 times. And every single day was a fight to make phone calls and get people to at least have a conversation. So just try and be easy on them, because not all of us are that, and I would say that's why they have such a high turnover. Because once you find out what the product is, you don't want to sell it. You don't want to push it, and you don't especially want to do it to a small business, because you know what's going to happen to them, and you know it's on your head. Even though HomeAdvisor is the one who runs it, you still personally feel responsible for that person and how they do with your product.
Were you fired, or did
I
you
let them
quit?
fire me because I was like, I'm not going to give up my job right now in this economy. You guys have put me in a corner, but I also can't push hard for these sales. So I knew, I was going to go. I knew it was on the chopping block, because the minute I told them I didn't believe in the product, I knew it was on the chopping block. When they wouldn't sit there and explain to me the issues and what had happened, I was like, well, I'm not going to push for you then. If you can't sit here as my manager and tell me what's so great about HomeAdvisor, if you can't tell me, who can tell me? You've been working here for how many years? And if it's great, you should be able to go on and on about it and convince me. But you didn't. You didn't even try.
Have you ever seen them address it internally, any outside allegations? You guys have a lot of media coverage. lawsuits against HomeAdvisor, class action.
Mm-hmm.
How do they train you? How do they address it internally?
They don't, really.
They don't.
I mean, if you're stupid enough to go up and ask about it, because it's a positive culture, and I'm telling you, you cannot say there's no questioning,
Well,
there's
if
no
you're
negativity.
calling me and I say, well, guys, you have class action lawsuit, what's all about? Like, how can you sell me if I'm educated contractor who knows about your
Every
legal?
company has lawsuits. Every company has
That's what
lawsuits. If you're a big, huge, successful company, of course you're going to have lawsuits. That's what they tell you, and they'll say, and those lawsuits will be dropped, just like the other ones. That's what they say.
Because of
there's not a
Chelsea
big
Clinton
conversation.
on the board and few others. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if contracting business did any of those practices. I mean, we would be out of the door, like we would be in jail. You try to call customer 10 times.
Yeah. 10 times. Oh, these people get called at least 3 or 4
Oh,
times
yeah.
a week, at least. And when they ask you not to call them again, it's up to you. Me, I'm like, you told me not to call you again. I'm not going to call you again. I'm not going to sit here and fight with you for 20 minutes, about please sign up for HomeAdvisor. I'm not that desperate. But
Any more questions, guys?
I have one. So when a new contractor comes on board, you guys ask for referrals? Because I've gotten a couple calls and they said, hey, I'm working with so-and-so roofing. Can you give us a referral for them? Or like put in a good word for them? And there were subcontractors who worked for us before, and then they signed up with HomeAdvisor. HomeAdvisor called us and said, have you worked with whatever, A and B roofing?
So they'll ask you to give them examples like, do you know, since you're not interested, that's fine, but I really need to get these jobs filled today. These customers are waiting. So could you provide me a name and number of somebody locally that you know that might be able to take on the work? And a lot of times they'll do this before they ever even say HomeAdvisor. A lot of my calls, I didn't say HomeAdvisor till the end because I knew they'd hang up on me. And a lot of times once they heard it, click, didn't even, no more conversation.
So they keep calling me and saying, well, so-and-so referred.
So another contractor referred you? Yeah, well that's kind of a script thing too. I mean, I know that they do prompt you to ask so you can call somebody else and get a sale. But yeah, they're gonna keep calling you. And they got it and they'll say that another contractor contacted them and told them that you might be able to take on the work. Most of the time what they're doing is they're prospecting, which means they're going through because their leads that even they give us are fake. Like we'll have a lead to call someone and you're supposed to call them and say, hey Mike, are you still doing roofing at blah, 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 and it'll say nothing. It'll say no category, no, it'll say null at the top. So you don't even have a name of the business, company, what they do, nothing. And you're supposed to go in there and act educated and you know them and you've been looking for them. They're going through phone books. They will type in common names and pull up like Smith or something like that and pull up all the contractors under Smith, or that company's name, and they'll just start calling down the list. So they're not even using just the leads that they're provided by the company. They're also going out and trying to find their own. J. Smith, things like that.
We have crazy story. I don't know you guys if you've seen it on our channel. We have a lady called us from, I think she was from New York, and her husband had a felony, and HomeAdvisor listed them pretty much. They told HomeAdvisor rep that we can't be on your list because we have a felony. He was like, well, are you the owner of the company? She's like, no, I'm not, but I still can list you. And he sold her membership and signed them up with her credentials.
Yeah.
Because he knew, and she said he was so smooth about it. He knew exactly what to say and how to sign them up. It's like, oh, that's not a big deal. Last question: if you would be searching for a contractor, like roofing contractor, would you use HomeAdvisor?
Absolutely not.
You would, as a homeowner.
This is a good way to end up. My sister, she just wanted to put in a pool. She wanted someone to come level the ground, right? Simple task. And she's putting stuff on Facebook and calling around asking people if anybody knows anybody. She knew I worked for HomeAdvisor. She didn't call me. She didn't reach out to HomeAdvisor. So that tells you something. Wow. Like she knows. She knows what the company is. I've told her and my issues with it. So
would you agree that it's not only good, they don't have good product for the contractors, but would you agree that they don't have good product for the homeowners?
No, because what I was told was this girl actually got fired a few days after, but she had told me I was new on the floor and she was kind of mentoring me, and she told me that you can go and just set up a separate account, a new account, as long as they have a different company name they can use or it's a different owner. So if the other owner has felony, then they'll set up an account for the other owner who doesn't. So they don't run, obviously they don't run everybody in the company. They only run the owner.
Do they actually do background checks? Because background
Yeah, I mean, well, from what I've seen they do, and I've seen them come back, so I'm assuming. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty thorough, from what they told me, it was a pretty thorough background check. But I know it's not updated, so you could have a felony but not be convicted of it yet, and then it'll, 2 months later you're convicted. We're never doing another one, so you're never going to have to be rerun. So you could have 8 felonies, it wouldn't matter. You could still be with HomeAdvisor, as long as we don't know about it, right?
Yeah. And I know, like, for example, for sex violations or sex traffic or something like that, they only do those background checks only in the state you're applying. It's in their contract. So you can
They don't tell us that.
You can be offender in a next state, like bordering state, and they would not run it. So if you're in Minnesota, they're gonna run sex offender list. It's in their contract in Minnesota. They're not gonna run it in Wisconsin. So, and it's only 1 year for, I think, for criminal. Well, there's a criminal. There's another check they do, but it's only 1 year back. It's crazy. There's so many exclusions, and it says it's limited in the 22 states. Like the
Really?
background check, it's in the contract. It's on the website.
I know they do them because I
Yeah.
had to wait,
No,
24 hours for my people to get
They
signed
do
up.
them, but it's
not
very
extensive.
limited.
Yeah. They tell us extensive background checks, that they pay $150 per background check, so it's very extensive, and that's what they tell their employees.
It costs about $20.
Oh,
Like
well.
I can run background check.
Well, they said they check for tax liens and judgments and things of that nature, and then sexual, obviously, and violent crimes. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Give it up to Rachel. Thank you
Thanks,
for your
guys.
bravery.
Thanks.
If you're the homeowner and looking for a trustworthy contractor, check out our Roofing Insights directory. We recommend top contractors in local cities all across the United States, and we back them up with our money in case they mess up the job.